Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 2 versus 2 on Pointe du Hoc, and in this one I'm going to be using the 12th SS-Panzer Division. I'm going to be joined by Silhouette, who is using the 17th SS-Panzer Grenadiers, and I'm going to be playing against YMDD and Exquisite Procrastinator, who are going to be using the 3rd Armoured and 2nd Infantry respectively. So this one was a game from before the most recent patch again, very similar to the last video I uploaded. But basically I've gone back to these games mainly due to the fact that I was focused on bringing out the new content for you guys, showing off the newer decks. But I kind of had to overlook recording these games until a later date, and that's basically what I'm doing now. Now this game was probably one of the best Steel Division video or games that I played. It was so back and forth throughout the entire game, and was just so much fun, and therefore I really had to go back and record this one for you guys. By the way, I am going to be starting on the right side of the map, pushing towards the beaches. Generally you can start on the other side of things, and it is very odd when you're the Germans fighting from the beaches, but there we go. I guess in terms of balancing for competitive play, you need to be able to start on both sides of the map, which is fine. Either way, let's have a quick look at what I'm deploying at the start of the game. I am going to speed up the deployment just because it did take a rather long time. But we can see I have got the 259 Panzer II combo with the 4 AP power auto cannons. And I've got 2 squads of Panzer Grenadiers, along with a command infantry squad and an AT gun for the right side. I was going to try and obviously take this town, very common for Pointe du Hoc. And then in the centre I've got an AT gun and a Panzer Grenadier in the half track. Again, that's just to stop anything, say, pushing down this road and pushing down from the right. Can get through here as well. There's a small track that goes down, I believe. So you just got to be wary of anything that's flanking to the right side. Either way, we are off. And over on this left side, Silhouette is going to be using the Stug from the start. Got quite a nice amount of infantry there. And I've also got another Kubel with a command infantry squad coming in to support the Panzer Grenadiers heading to the centre of the map. Now this sort of push is actually quite risky these days, especially for instance the 3rd Armoured. If I come up against multiple Stuarts, these SPW222s, the 259s and also the Panzer II don't really match up to the Stuarts very nicely unless you get them into very close range. But I decided to take the risk, see if this strategy still works, because generally people don't invest in a lot of tanks early on. By the way, here you can see my 222 is going to stop and drop off the Aufklärer so that it doesn't get destroyed with the infantry inside, and we're going to be able to pin down this M1 gun thanks to the 259s catching up. And along with the extra veterancy provided by the Panzer IIs, these guys are going to get on target and kill off that AT gun nicely. So that's actually put me in a great position here, because if he doesn't have another AT gun, I can continue to just wreck his infantry. And you can see the Ranger support squad there getting deleted almost infantry almost instantly under all of that fire. That was also with the half-track machine gun support as well. I dropped off my infantry early just so that I could walk them towards these buildings, and I've also got my Pak 38 quite far back as well. They do manage to get the 30 cal into this building, but at such close range, as soon as my machine guns and auto cannons get on target, that machine gun's not going to be lasting very long at all. And as you can see, it does get pinned down and they do surrender. I managed to take control of this town basically. As you can see, the front line's pushing all the way up, and that's put me in a great position already. Over in the middle, not too much happening, just holding the line, having this half-track probe around a little. And my teammates managed to get pretty pinned down here. A lot of his Stoss troop got killed, I believe, but just trying to get the Stug 3 on target to kill a couple of these half-tracks. Now I'm just going to try and move up this road. Really wary about these tree lines. They're often terrible for like being ambushed. But I have definitely killed quite a lot of troops, like the range support, the 30 cal, killed the AT gun. So quite a lot of stuff has gone down. So I'm definitely trying to make a little bit of ground here. Going to send in my half track just to see if there's anything there. And I'm just sort of spreading around my Panzer Grenadiers. These guys heading to the left side because I spotted these Ranger Support Squad earlier. Managed to get them into the building. Just going to be using the Panzer II to support them. Try and take out the Ranger Supports. Now I do see reinforcements coming down the road. Not sure quite how much ground I can make, so I'm being apprehensive as to moving forwards my 259s. Just want to make sure there's like nothing here that could possibly take out my half tracks and so on. But either way, I do see one tank coming down the road, and that's going to blow up my half track. So these 259s, what can I do with them? Well, I'm going to run them away from this M4A1. Because they can't fight that. That's an M4A1, they don't have enough AP value to even damage that M4A1, so I just need to get my PaK-38 into a ambushing position so that it can fire at anything that comes down the road. And then I'm just going to move over my half tracks and the Panzer II to take care of the infantry and also this AT gun that was in the centre. So we've done a lot of damage now. This Panzer Grenadier is just going to lead the charge, and I'm going to have the vehicle supporting him. In the middle here we are going to be seeing the half track pin down some rifles there and also help pin down the 30 caliber machine gun. And while these Panzer Grenadiers, once they are no longer pinned down, they can possibly capture the rifles. So I've got some more reinforcements coming up, of course. I've got my 2511 half track here with its tracks broken. Is still able to provide some covering fire. I believe that was originally hit by the AT gun. And yeah, just going to be moving out the Panzer Grenadiers supported by the command infantry. Ranger Support Squad is spotted there and is destroyed instantly by the autocannon. And finally we make these Panzer Grenadiers surrender, or the enemy rifles, sorry, surrender, and we're pushing on to the enemy Ranger Support and 30 cal. Now up here, Silhouette's made a lot of ground. We're currently at a +1 with 54%. I've made ground on the right, obviously taking control of this town is over halfway. Actually managed to ambush his M4A1 here with the Panzer Grenadier squad dropped off by a half track, so that was fantastic. These Panzer Grenadiers managing to take that out as he tried to move it forwards, and that was the sort of death trap that I was talking about. These Panzer Grenadiers have done their job, now they're being pinned down by the Ranger Support Squad unfortunately. But here come my 259s and the Panzer IIs. Now that that M4A1 is dead, we can try and push on through there. Because that's the only reason that I wasn't really continuing with the 259s. However, I do kind of need the infantry to spot the enemy infantry in these tree lines, otherwise I'm going to be in the same position as my opponent was with that M4A1. We managed to damage these rifles severely thanks to the 250-10s and the 259s, but now what do we see here? Ranger Marauder squads, and goodbye to one half track as that gets hit very hard by the Zookas. So now I'm definitely sure that I'm not going to be pushing through the tree line because my opponent has started to bring in all of those Ranger Marauders, and all of the tight angles moving through this road are absolutely horrific for Ranger Marauder squads. This Ranger Marauder does get revealed and destroyed instantly when it decides to kill off my Panzer Grenadiers, but still there was another one there, and I'm not really silly enough to move forwards my 259s into range. Yeah, in the centre of the map, well, unfortunately Silhouette does lose his Stug. Not entirely sure what to, and now he's left pretty vulnerable. He's got the MG42, he's got the IG-18, but the armoured rifles and the half-track, this half-track's going to be able to take care of the MG42 and the IG-18 basically on its own. Command M5A1 does take out another IG on the left, so yeah, Silhouette's in a pretty bad position right now, unfortunately. Definitely maybe move that Stug a little bit too far, and it could have been used to support his push elsewhere. I'm just making a little probing attack into the centre, getting my half-tracks on target whilst my Panzer Grenadiers push up. 222 also trying to get round the tree line to provide covering fire. I brought up another PaK-38 here, that's being pushed forwards. Actually, I believe that was the one that I had further back initially. I'm just moving that forwards now to cover off this road down up here. I'm trying to try and get it into that tree line, and anything moving down that road should get sniped by the Pak 38. The 222 easily going to be pinning down enemy rifles, and the machine gun from the half-tracks trying to kill the 30 cal. Do manage to take it out. I did lose my Panzer Grenadier squad, but definitely making a lot of ground. Still pushing on through. Silhouette's working with a pretty heavy skeleton force here, bringing up the 221s now. So I'm going to be bringing up my own reinforcements to the left side. Got a Panzerstreck squad with all of these close tree lines. I'm hoping that I'll be able to take care of the enemy tanks, especially the M5A1 with that Panzerstreck squad if I can get it close enough. We managed to take out the rifle squad there, and we've made a lot of ground in the centre. Over on this right side, there was a half-track, I believe, that got destroyed. I'm still sort of manoeuvring around these tree lines. I know there's no infantry in here because the front line's not pushing towards us, but there's another tank on the way now, so I can't really use my Panzer II in the open. Pak 38's able to fire all the way down though. You can see that small amount of line of sight has got all the way down there just to aim at that tank. Just going to continue to bounce off it. Panzer Grenadiers come through this tree line. I'm going to get pinned down quite heavily by the Ranger supports and the Ranger Marauders. Now what I should have done in this case, I was thinking about this afterwards, is brought all of these units that are over on this left over to the right, to the far right of this little field here. And I could have pushed through and had the half-track sit on the very far right here and shoot across as soon as the Panzer Grenadiers came through the tree line. Fortunately, because I haven't already done that now, I can't really do it again, and as I try and move my units over, well, Ranger Marauder squad is repositioned and actually manages to snipe my Panzer II. That was unfortunate. Do a little bit of damage to the Ranger Marauders, but they're going to get hidden again very quickly. The enemy infantry squad going to be pinned down by my half-track and the auto cannon there. Going to be making back some ground in the centre, but you can see how odd the front line looked in this game throughout most of the game. It was pretty crazy. 250-10's going to be opening up onto the armoured rifles here. Going to be pushing forwards the Panzerstreck. Maybe try and sneak up this hedgerow to get into a position to snipe tanks that come through the road here. That's of course if he doesn't get spotted beforehand. Going to be bringing up some infantry as well. Got some reinforcing infantry for the centre. Infantry is very, very important for just leading the charge with your small armour pushes. In the middle, my Pak 38 is on target to shoot the T30, and I do let it fire. Fires one shot, the second one hits its target and blows up the T30. So a really nice kill there. Also going to be letting it fire onto the M20. It is 2 stars. Thanks to the Panzergrenadier here, so I'm going to take out the M20 as well. Over here, one of my half-tracks does go down to the AT gun, however, the second half-track and the 259 do take that out very quickly with Panzergrenadiers, so it gets rid of that AT gun in the centre. And we're still making ground, +1, 52% in our favour. However, on this left side, we don't really have much here at all. There's an Aufklärer running around, but these guys have just ran across the road, which multiple half-tracks coming down, so they're not really going to last very long. They just get mown down. Definitely should look before you cross the road. In this case, they definitely did not. Ju-87 is brought up by a silhouette to maybe take out the M5A1, and it's also going to go for the hits onto the half-tracks coming down the road. However, 2 P38 Lightnings are going to come straight in onto that and definitely do a lot of damage, and now on the 50 cals from the ground are on target as well. Over on the right side, I did just kill a Ranger Marauder squad, as you can see. P38 is going to get back on target here and definitely shoot down that aircraft. A 250-10 finally gets blown up here. Yeah, over on the right, I'm still trying to make this work. 250-10 does take out a half-track, but I'm just kind of worried about this M4A1. Yeah, I was thinking about moving things over to the right side. Then I realised that if he just moved his M4A1 into here, he could fire on all of those vehicles. So I've just got to really remain defensive on the right at the moment against all of the things that he's trying to push towards me, and instead try and focus elsewhere. So for example, in the middle, making quite a lot of ground here, pushing up with a 259 and a Panzer Grenadier squad. Although this HMG definitely was doing a lot of damage to the 259, so I had to be careful about that. Over on this left side, not having a very fun time. The M3A1 half-tracks, 2 stars there, thanks to the armoured leader, are going to be able to pin down and severely damage my Panzer Grenadier squads. My Panzer Track squad's still alive, but basically lost all of my extra support on this left side at the moment, and Silhouette is in a pretty dire position, unfortunately. Thankfully, we're still making ground in the centre, and I'm managing to hold the right side ahead of the town, which is over halfway up the map. So generally halfway is roughly like where this road is. So you can see we have all of the land beyond that, which is actually quite nice. I've moved my AT gun since it fired, so they can't destroy that. That's now got a different line of fire onto this road, so they have to come down a little bit further, and then we can get flanking side shots. On this left side, got to be very careful with the Panzer Trek squad. Don't want that taken out by the armoured LMG rifles or the armoured leader, so just running away as quick as I can. Some enemy unit reveals themselves on the far left, trying to flank the SPW 223 and the 2511. But now I'm just going to try and get away from that, as I do get pinned down very quickly. .259 now. Going to be trying to do some damage to this HMG. Trouble is, those 50 cals can very easily panic 259 because they don't have much armour. P-38 Lightning's coming in. Silhouette's going to be trying to use an FW-190 to shoot one of those down. However, there is a lot of 50 cals on the ground, and as you can see, it does take a lot of morale damage, and therefore misses the rest of its shots and doesn't get either of those kills, even though P-38s are generally quite easy to kill. I brought up a Panther for this side now. I noticed that they have brought up a Jumbo and an M4A1. Just moving this Panther D round to try and get into position to fight those. Actually, that's just an M5A1. Not even a Sherman. But it's a command version that's definitely buffing up the Jumbo. So AT gun here, going to be engaged by Silhouette Stug 4. And Silhouette's also trying to use his Aufklärer. I'll probably just try and run that down as well. However, he does get the pin onto the AT gun, which is good. I'm just trying to get this Panther D over here so that we can destroy the half tracks and maybe move up this tree line. FW-190 helps finish off the AT gun there. An armoured vehicle does go down on the road after it got ambushed. I do lose a unit on the right. Did get hit by a Calliope over here. As you can see, a lot of my units aren't panicked currently. My recon squad, the only unit really to go down though, although I did also lose my resupply vehicle there as well, the Opel Blitz. I've got a Panther D here, which is busy looking down the road, waiting for targets. Then I have the fire support all set up over here as well. My half-track's going to go down there, kind of push it forwards as bait, so that my Panther D could open up onto anything that was there. Now I'm still moving forwards this Panzer Trek squad, now only one man. Try and take care of some of these half-tracks. Panther D here does take out that one just before it gets into cover. Armoured LMG rifles are going to surrender to the SPW-223, which was great. Now I've got even more reinforcements coming up. A couple more Panzer Grenadier squads. Up here, 259 still making progress with the Panzer Grenadiers, although currently it's run out of autocannon ammunition, so not as effective as normal, but still able to provide some fire onto enemy infantry squads where possible. Enemy command squad is going to come up here with its, or enemy recon squad, sorry, the Ranger Marauders pushing onto the 259. 259 are just going to continue to fall back, and I do lose my Panzer Grenadiers to a surrender. Well, this 259 needs to get out of there as soon as possible. I brought up another Pioneer squad to reinforce that centre, but finally the 259 does go down to that 50 caliber machine gun. Over on the left side, my Panzer Grenadiers getting beaten very hard by the Jumbo. Silhouette's going to be bringing over an ME-109 to try and pin some of those tanks, but unfortunately does not do the job. This Panzerschreck squad happily took out a half-track for me before it went down as well. Now with Panther D over on this left side, well, that's trying to get some line of sight down this road in order to take care of some of these tanks if they back up. However, he's coming down the road with a couple of these half-tracks, and I've got to be really careful against this deck, because if he gets these half-tracks too close and drops out some armoured rifles, I'm going to be in a very bad place. However, that doesn't particularly matter, as a Command M5A1 comes out of the woodwork and gets one shot by my Panther D. However, this one is a Jumbo, and that's going to get a one-shot, one-kill onto my Panther D, even in the front armour actually, which was pretty good. He was a lot closer, so he did have increased AP value, which is probably why he hit the one-shot penetration. But either way, Panther D going down, pretty expensive, not gonna lie, and I'm not exactly making too much ground elsewhere. Still being hit hard by the Calliope on the right side, although just maintaining defence. Wasn't really too much to see here. All it was just the Calliope coming in with the rocket strike, and I just maintained my ground. He never really pushed after firing those rocket strikes, because he didn't actually kill much with them. As you can see, the 259s are still alive, the 222s alive on the right side alongside the 250-10, and I've still got the Panther D over on the left side and an AT gun hiding with the Pioneers. So yeah, we've got plenty of troops over on this right side just holding that town, holding the line. I've got troops just holding the line in the centre now as well, as I don't really want to continue pushing there now that I've lost my 259. I'm just going to continue on focus on stemming the bleeding on the left side. Because currently it's 50-50, and if we lose any more ground to the Allies, then we are going to be losing a +1, which does happen as they now get 51% due to capturing this left side. We're in a bit of a sticky spot because I can't really push through here on the right side, and I can't really push through in the centre because I've just bumped into loads of men, and there's also all these reinforcements coming up. So what I'm going to do is grab all of these armoured cars and half-tracks from the right side, and what I'm going to do is just move them all over to the left and try and break through on this side. I've left a skeleton force, just my infantry really. Panzer Grenadiers, Panzer Grenadier. I pretty much know that he's not going to push on this side, because he's used the Calliope twice now and he hasn't even tried to probe it. So just decided to move all of my units over to the other side. Got my Panther D going over there as well. I've got a couple of MGs coming up to just support the right, and I'm going to leave those half-tracks there to support that as well, whilst the rest of the units just carry on to the left side. So I've got a Panzer IV here, the BF Panzer IV, or the Befehl Panzer IV, as some of you guys want me to say. And yeah, just trying to take out a couple of these half-tracks, maybe a couple of these tanks before I'm forced to fall back, because these Jumbos are never really going to penetrate those at max range in the front armour. However, I did manage to knock out the driver of this Jumbo, so I was trying to get a few more cheeky shots before I take it out of line of sight behind the tree here. Got my Panther D pushing forwards in the centre. With all these half-tracks, I can probably destroy the M8 Scott and the M3 half-track here, so that's what I was going to try and do. My Pak 40 over here again gets hit by more Calliope shots, but doesn't really do too much. Just kills a couple of the men on the crew. I managed to recover the left side, but we're still losing a +1 to the opponents. Moving forwards, the Panther D here. Do manage to kill off the Scot. And as soon as the 222s and the other half-tracks come here, we're going to take out the half-track as well. We do make back some ground in the centre. However, I don't really want to continue pushing through here because there's loads of infantry and I can't really just drive through this tree line. I would have to go either up this road or up round to the left here, and I don't know what's up here, so I'm just going to come back to what I know, which is that we're losing the left side. All of my fire support's going to be coming on over from the right side to the left, again leaving skeleton force on the right side, focusing on my hard points into the left. Going to be bringing up a Befehl Panther now as well, to join my Befehl Panzer IV.
Feind gesichtet. Seid auf der Hut.
Considering I don't know what's in this town, I'm just going to bypass that, come all the way down and round. I saw a armoured car die here earlier to an enemy ambush, so yeah, I don't want to be on the wrong end of that again. Yeah, I'm just going to take the long road and support this Panther as it pushes on to enemy positions. The 76mm gun here. Going to be shot at by my MG42, going to bring the Panzer IV to bear. Try and take that out as quickly as I can, so that we don't have to worry about that, because the last thing I need is my Panther being one-shot by a 2-star 76mm gun. I do bring in 2 Lightnings, try and harass my MG42. They're going to support that by 2 more Lightnings, the fighter variants, the Mustang, and 2 more Lightnings as well. Massive air presence from the enemy currently, and Silhouette is going to lose another one of his Stukas. Putting down these armoured rifles at the moment whilst I try and get my Panther into position. Jumbo is going to just be firing at my half track, but I'm just going to be trying to retreat that. And well, what I decided to do, since we had just lost the middle after I left, I've sent a few units, the 222s and the 251, just a sort of normal machine gun half track, back to the centre. This ME-109 actually destroyed one of the Lightnings, which was good, and this ME-109 is going to be getting onto the back of this Mustang. Fortunately gets stunned and is forced to fall back. And well, the ME-109 also goes down to the AA at the same time. So that was a little bit unfortunate. Shot down 1 aircraft, lost my own. Here come my armoured cars for the centre, and what are they going to bump into? An M4A1 and a T30. And well, I wasn't really expecting this, and as you can see, all I can do at this point is just continue to charge and hope they don't hit me. But with the 2-star M4A1, things go tits up and I lose all of that fire support in the centre. However, over here, we're okay. We've got the Panther D covered by all of the little armoured cars, and we're managing to make a lot of these jumbos fall back. Another Ju-87 going to be coming in, do as much damage as possible to the jumbo. We took out one of them, just got to try and take out the second, and after multiple shots from the Panther D and the Panzer IV, that's 2 jumbos down. Now we have line of sight to help the push onto the town as well. They're going to be helping support with that as well. The half track in the centre is going to get destroyed, and we've just got to rely on these Panzer Grenadiers hidden in this tree line to take out the enemy as they get close. So all of my armour is pretty much here at the moment. Panther D, Befehl Panther, Befehl Panzer IV, the armoured cars. And we're moving the armoured cars up to help take control of this town area. And just let the Panther Ds take care of the half tracks and the armour. We're bringing up another Panther for the centre. Obviously we don't want to be pushed through in the centre now, so I'm going to have to try and react to that. My Panzer Grenadier squad is spotted here, unfortunately, due to them being pinned down. And they were firing with their machine gun onto the enemy infantry. I didn't realise that was happening. I probably should have turned off the machine gun and just let them ambush a tank when they got close. Or even just put them on return fire. Because here you can see as soon as they open up again, they're just going to die. And that was my bad, because I definitely could have kept them hidden if they didn't actually bring any recon. The T-59s have moved up into the town. Just trying to decide what I want to do with these Panthers, because one of them's now got a transmission damage. And I'm still trying to probe the left side slightly. Panzer Grenadiers there opening up with their machine guns. Trying to get this half-track on target. Now the Jumbo's going to come around the corner though. That's going to decide what I want to do. Having both the Panthers on target is more than enough to try and take out a Jumbo that is falling back. Just got to keep firing and eventually we'll get there. Just took 3 firing and finally, I think it was just shot from my Befehl Panther, took out the Jumbo. Silhouette coming in with his FW-190 again. Focke-Wulf not really doing the job there. The Lightning's just too fast. However, Focke-Wulf's too fast for the Mustang as well, so that was lucky that he managed to get that out of there. And one of my T-59s does go down to these AT guns, the M5 guns that are pushing up the road. I'm still trying to make some ground here. Destroy an M3 A1 half-track thanks to this Befehl Panther. I was just trying to stem the push in the centre. Still haven't been attacked on this right side, so I basically made the right choice to just move all of my troops to the left where I could actually try and make a difference. This Panther now going to be harassed by the enemy air force. I actually didn't buy many planes throughout this game, just because they were using so many of them. Maybe should have focused on some AA, but at this point I was just focusing on pushing forwards with my Panthers and trying to make a difference that way. And as you can see, we are sort of starting to make some ground back. However, this big old chunk of land in the middle is costing us to be losing 54% of the land currently. So now the Allies coming up to close to our score, actually. I'm going to have to bring in another Befehl Panther. Now this Panther's continuously being attacked by aircraft at this point. Not really much I can do about that. Is going to fall back very close to enemy armour. As you can see, there is an enemy Sherman coming up through the field, a Rhino, which is going to fire off one shot into the Panther at close range. Panther's just reversing away, which is actually quite nice. Normally the retreating units tend to turn round, but in this case, well, it finally goes down to the second shot. On my Panther D, that's moved up to the town. Try and assist these Panzer Grenadiers. I've reinforced with a couple of infantry squads here, and I brought my Befehl Panther over to the left. Starting to make some ground back in the centre. My Pioneers, along with Silhouette Stug, managed to push through one tree line, and now Panzer Grenadier and Pioneer combo managed to make another unit of infantry surrender. Got these two half tracks moving up, and they're helping reveal some of the enemy infantry. Panther D was unfortunately killed here due to the M5 guns, I believe, and all of these tanks that were moving down the road. Now, while my 259, wrong place, wrong time, straight into the line of sight of an M4A3 with a 75mm gun. Not very nice. Trying to get my Panzer IV into position, trying to get these Panzer Grenadiers into the building so they can actually be useful. Unfortunately, at the moment, they're just being pinned down. 259 does go down, so does one of the enemy half-tracks. Going to be stopping the BF Panther here. But unfortunately, the two M5 guns again doing their job and taking out another armour piece. That was kind of my bad. I shouldn't have really fast moved it up this road. That was just a bit of a mistake. I knew that they had those M5 guns there because I'd lost the Panther D already. However, I needed to do something. In this case, the BF Panther, well, that makes short work of one of the Germans, and that weapon damages the second, so that's no longer an issue. Cleaning up some of the infantry on the left side, thanks to Silhouette's SPW-222 and the half-track of mine. And now making a little bit of ground up here, pushing through with the two half-tracks onto this machine gun once again. And I've got this Befehl Panther sitting back here. Not really doing too much at the moment, but definitely should have been using that more effectively. Yeah, because they've invested like so much in air, as you can see, like there's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 aircraft in the sky of the enemy at the moment. I didn't invest in any planes because I knew that all that would happen is it wouldn't be worth it because I'd just get swarmed. So I just basically focused all of my points into the Befehl Panthers so that I could actually make back some ground on the ground. And this is very similar to the 10v10 I played the other day that I showed you guys on the channel, where my opponent like focused so heavily on air force that they actually like basically completely neglected their ground forces and let them get run over. And in this case, it's caused us to take back a lot of ground very quickly on the left side. Myself and Silhouette were basically working together with these units on the left side to clean up the rest of the rifles and stuff there, so that was great. And now in the centre, I've moved over my Befehl Panther to support Silhouette Stug 3 as we move through. Now the AA truck does go down there to the 50 caliber machine gun, which was pretty crazy, but either way, we're back to 54% territory in our favour. So, currently getting the +1 back on the board and a major victory in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Befehl Panther here is continuing to move up, however the Stug 4 has been bailed out. And now a lot of tanks coming to swarm the Befehl Panther. Panther is going to be trying to take out that jumbo there. I'm bringing in an ME-109 to try and take out one of the M5 guns in the centre of the map, and I certainly do. I don't think his P-38 Lightning is going to be quick enough to hit me that far away from his air spawn, so I do take my chances there. And Silhouette comes in with his FW-190. It's probably been the luckiest plane in this game. Unfortunately though, my BF Panther, the Befehl Panther, are going to go down on this left side to multiple Germans, as you can see, just piled on round that corner. If I go to the neutral perspective, you can see they do have the M10. I think that was what actually got the killing blow onto the Befehl Panther, but also to the jumbo, couple of 75mm M4A3s and a command M4A1. When all of those are on target to a Befehl Panther, the Befehl Panther is going to get panicked and eventually die, which is definitely what happened. And what you can see happening here now is we enveloped the forces that were pushed a little bit too far in the centre. And we are basically surrounding the rest of these jumbos. The Rhino here is going to get taken out by the Stug 4. And we know there's a lot of stuff in the centre, as we saw it all come through this road, of course. But Silhouette's done a fantastic job of getting his Stosstroop and Pioneers round behind them so that we could cut them off and get the massive territory lead towards the end of the game. We're currently on 57% territory lead, even though the enemy have a huge amount of armour over on this left side. You can see that the Stug finally takes care of that Rhino. And Befehl Panther is still just holding the centre of the map. Probably should have been moving that over to the left to maybe help take care of the jumbo, but I still wasn't sure if the M5 guns had been completely dealt with. I know I'd killed one myself, but apparently the other one had been taken out by Silhouette already, because if I go to the neutral perspective, you can see it's no longer there. Just this jumbo and the M4A3 75mm just hiding in the tree patches at the moment. But they've got to do something quickly because there's only 1 minute and 45 seconds left on the clock, and we are running for a major victory currently. I brought up a second Panther here. I can see all of this armour moving towards the centre of the map, so I'm going to try and counter it with the BF Panther and the Panther D combo. Knowing that they're in enemy territory, the enemy are going to be trying to move their Shermans out of the town. They don't want to be stuck behind enemy lines. Silhouette could have definitely tried to ambush the jumbo here. That would have been a really nice opportunity. However, at this point, it does not particularly matter, as we will soon win the game. And as you can see over on this right side, Calliope just didn't even matter. It wasn't even a Calliope, it was actually the xylophone. But the xylophone, yeah, kept rocketing the right side, but they never pushed on it, so I could just keep a skeleton force there, quite nice and easy. We managed to take out the M4A3 on the main road there, and now I'm just taking out the jumbo as well, with the Panther D and the Befehl Panther. Enemy flamethrower going to go down very easily to my Panzer Grenadiers in the centre of the map. But all these kills at this point are just padding the KD, so putting so many rounds into this jumbo right now. Panther D, Befehl Panther finally finishes it off. The Stug 4 there was also helping out, try and take that out. Panzer Grenadiers going to break the tracks of this T-30, and the Panzerwerfer is just going to rocket all of these units that are pushing through the gap. It's going to force them back nicely. And well, as the game runs out of time, we win the game by points victory. And it was definitely a very back and forth game. Like, as I went through that game, I was absolutely amazed at how much the front line went forwards and backwards on both sides. And I really enjoyed the way that we managed to break through on certain parts of the map, whilst we were also struggling like on the far left. If we go to the team, you can see that I definitely propped up Silhouette quite nicely with my 4,000 kills to 2,610 losses. Unfortunately, Silhouette did lose quite a lot of units, but definitely worked his way back into the game at the end there with my assistance. We definitely cut off a lot of their push in the centre, which was really, really nice. Managing to get those infantry squads behind them to cut off the front line and envelop all of those forces worked out really, really well. So that was down to Silhouette, and if he hadn't have done that, we wouldn't have managed to get such a good lead at the end of the game, and maybe we wouldn't have won. So definitely a team effort, and it was good to work with Silhouette on my team. If we go to the kills, we can have a look at what did the damage. So the 259s at the start of the game definitely took out a lot of the fire support of the 2nd Infantry. And of course those guys move over to the left and did even more damage there. The 222 definitely picking up its weight in kills. And we see this Pack 38 getting the T30 and the M20. That was the one that ambushed the centre road. Panther D definitely not paying itself off. This Panther D, however, got 2 jumbo kills and an M8 Scott. This Panzer IV, again, paid itself off, and this Befehl Panther paid itself off. 2 jumbos, 2 M4A1s, really, really nice job. This one also got a Command M4A1. So although it may have looked like I lost quite a lot of tanks, especially like the Panther Ds and so on, a lot of them did actually get kills before they died. Basically meant I was trading points. In a lot of cases, there was times when I probably shouldn't have been so ambitious with my tanks. I was pushing them fast, moving them up roads and stuff, and they were getting ambushed. That was my bad. But in general, trading like a BF Panther or Befehl Panther for a jumbo is actually quite a good trade, even though the Panther costs quite a lot more. Just making sure that you get those jumbo kills definitely puts the 3rd Armoured on the back foot, especially if they are relying solely on that jumbo. A lot like in the same way if you destroy a Befehl Panther and like one side collapses. So for example, you saw on the far left side towards the end of the game when they were pushing on me with loads of M4A1s, and other Shermans. The VulcanHDGaming, as soon as I died, the left flank collapsed. But we did manage to recover in those positions, so that was great. In the meantime, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I thought it was a very, very fun game to watch and a very fun game to play. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.